Hey guys, Brian here from Thumper Fab. Today I'm going to walk through the install of our Defender roof rack on your JL audio roof. When installing the roof rack on your Defender, it's easiest to assemble the rack on a table before installing it onto your roof. For the first step in the assembly process, we'll mount your tie-down rails along the length of your main rails to set the width of the roof rack. For the fasteners to assemble your roof rack, you'll have 1/4-20 button head screws and 1/4-20 nylon lock nuts. You'll insert your accent tie-down rails under your main tie-down rails before fastening the bolt through all three parts and capping it off with a lock nut. When you're assembling the tie-downs to your main rails, you'll skip the first hole as that's used for a mount bracket on the front of the rails. Also, you'll notice the holes in these accent rails are slotted to allow them to be used on multiple vehicles. You'll start with your front tie-down rail, and as you space them back, you'll see how they lay out. When you're going to assemble your roof rack, you're going to want to leave your fasteners loose until you get all tie-down rails mounted, the front brow, and all of the remaining brackets. Once you have it up on the unit, you can tighten everything up. With everything loosely assembled, the next step in our assembly process, you'll mount the front brow to the main rails, both driver and passenger side, using your 1/4-20 hardware. Before you mount the rack to your Defender, you'll have a stud sticking through on the front left and right corner. You'll have to remove the two nuts from the inside. Replace them with the bolts and the front mounting brackets before you put the rack up on the roof. The first step in removing the factory studs that hold on your JL audio roof, you'll remove these two T30 Torx bolts to gain access to the studs. With your plastics pulled out of the way, you can now use a 10mm deep well socket to remove the lock nuts that fasten to the studs that stick through the top of the roof. With your lock nuts removed, you can now remove the welded stud assembly that holds the front of the roof onto the vehicle. The last step before installing your roof rack onto your Defender is you'll remove the 4 factory bolts that hold the JL audio roof to your B and your C pillars. For the next step in the assembly process, we'll mount our front brackets to your driver and passenger side rail before mounting the rack on the vehicle. For the next step in our installation process, we're going to mount our 40-inch light bar brackets to the front brow of the roof rack. You want to leave these loose until you get the light bar bolted up, and you can come back and tighten them. With your light bar mounts loosely fastened, you can go ahead and mount your light bar. For the last step before you mount the rack to the unit, we'll install our nameplates using 2 1/8-inch rivets and a rivet gun. Before mounting your front brackets to the top of the roof, you'll install the bolts you took out from your B and C pillars through the rack, through the roof, and into the frame. Once those are installed, not tight, you can move on to the front mounts before returning, tightening all bolts evenly. On the B pillar, you'll have a fender washer on top of the roof and on the inside of the vehicle. On the C pillar, you'll only have a fender washer on the inside of the vehicle, not one on top of the roof. If you decide to go with the light bar option, you'll want to keep your driver's side B, C, and A pillar loose when you're tightening down the roof rack to give you just enough room to lift the roof up a little bit, to slide our wires through for a tucked appearance. For the next step of the installation process, I'll show you how to wire up your light bar if you selected that option. I'll show routing it through the cab, hooking it to power, and then to your light bar. So here we have our harness laid out for the light bar. You have your Deutsch connector, which will plug into your light bar. Your positive and negative terminal with fusible link, they'll tie into your bus bar. The relay, and then the switch will mount in the roof. So the first step when installing your harness, you're going to want to tuck the relay, your pigtails, and the terminals for your switch up near the central location of the roof. The JL audio roof has been provided with a bus bar that will tie into to provide power to the light. Once you have this sitting in position, Then we'll go ahead and run our Deutsch connector for our light through the roof, coming out by the B-pillar, and zip tying it to the roof rack before connecting to your light bar. We've gone ahead and removed the full front plastic section to make it easier for the installation. Once you have your light bar plugged in, then you can come back and connect the power terminals to the bus bar and secure the wires for the relay and the fusible link with zip ties. For the routing for our light wiring, we started here in the center of the front, running back the length of the roll cage on the driver's side until you get to the B-pillar or the mid-bar mount. Where the roof has a split, you'll feed the wires through from the outside to the underside of the roof rack, zip tying to the roof rack for a clean look before running the wire to the light bar and plugging it in. The harness provided with your light bar has large size ring terminals that won't fit on the bus bar for the JL Audio roof. We'll snip the wires back an inch or two and insert our 1/4 inch ring terminals followed with heat shrink before tightening them up on the bus bar. For the procedure of splicing on our smaller size ring terminals, you'll snip the wire back about an inch, slide the shrink wrap over the wire before following by your smaller ring terminal. With your connectors securely fastened to the wire, you can melt your heat shrink before fastening it to the bus bar. When connecting the wires to your bus bar, you'll have the ground on the far right and your hot on the far left. This is a key on hot, so the light bar will only be activated when the switch is on and the key is on. Wiring of your switch, you'll start with the black on top, followed by the white, and then the blue. You can do this for testing purposes. Once you're ready to mount the switch inside the upper panel, you'll pop the panel out where you'd like to install the switch, run the wiring harness through, and connect in this order. And when you turn the key on and the switch on, the light will come on.
All right, guys, we finally have it here. A roof rack for your stock audio roof on your Defender Limited, your Lone Star editions. That stock audio roof, we now have you thumping. Stock roof rack to go on top. Accent panels that you can see are customized to really pop and set your Defender apart. Cross rails all the way across that are included in the kit, not extra. What is optional here is up front our light bar options. So right now we have the 40-inch slim row light bar here. These brackets will also fit some other 40-inch light bars that are out on the market. We have this nice slim row, keeps it very low profile, still puts out a ton of light. We also have our very popular KC Pro 6 light bar that can go up here as well. So the Pro 6 can go up here. We've got the roof rack, we've got everything you need to really get your stock roof thumping on your Can-Am Defender. Check it out, thumperfab.com or a Thumper Fab dealer near you.